India, good evening. Thanks for joining us on Times Now, India's election news headquarters. The Election Commission of India announced poll schedule for the 2024 Lok Sabha Elections. Polling will happen in 7 phases with multi-phase polling scheduled in 14 states. The 2-month-long electoral battle will start on April 19th and the results will be declared on June 4th. As the Election Commission announced the dates, the politics has started too. Several opposition leaders, including leaders from the Congress, TMC, RJD and Uddhav Thackeray's Shiv Sena, have voiced concern over the multi-phase polling in different states. Among the states which will have polling in 7 phases are Bengal, Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. TMC has objected to prolonged poll schedule in Bengal and has said that this has been done to give advantage to the BJP, alleging that the party with most funds will get ample time to employ its money and muscle power in Bengal. In Bihar, RJD has questioned the logic of polls in 7 phases when there are only 40 seats in the state.
2021 elections, assembly elections in Bengal, that was a 8-phase conducted over 34 days. It was an 8-phase election for 34 days. Then the categoric thing that was reiterated that there has been COVID, so the election has been so long. So we are unable to understand that now there is no situation like COVID. So what is then justification for a 7-phase election in Bengal?
40 सीट वाला लोक राज्य है, इसको 4 चरण में किया जाना चाहिए था. अगर 26 सीट वाले पे एक 20 सीट वाले पर एक बार में कर रहे हो तो 40 वाला को 4 बार में करने में क्या जाता था. आयुक्त की शेरो और शायरी, कई पॉलिटिकल रस से भरे हुए पंक्तियां उनके निष्पक्षता पर एक सवाल खड़ा करता है.
मुझे नहीं पता है कि क्यों इतना 7 फेज में चुनाव हो रहा है. एक तरफ हम बात करते हैं 1 नेशन 1 इलेक्शन की, दूसरी तरफ इतने लंबे पीरियड का पूरा इलेक्शन की प्रक्रिया रखी है.
तो मैं समझता हूँ कि 7 चरण बहुत ज्यादा है. 5 चरण में अगर कोशिश की जाती तो शायद ये हो सकता था, लेकिन इलेक्शन कमीशन की शायद कोई मजबूरी रही हो, पैरामिलिट्री फोर्स का जो डिप्लॉयमेंट होता है उसको लेकर हो या और किसी चीज को लेकर.
Now viewers, the opposition did not stop here. Some in the opposition ranks also raised the EVM bogey once again. On the day polls were announced, leaders of Samajwadi Party and Congress cast aspersions on polling through electronic voting machines.
पूरी तरह से समाजवादी पार्टी तैयार है और समाजवादी पार्टी से ज्यादा जनता तैयार है. जनता ने जितना झेल लिया इन 10 सालों में, इससे ज्यादा कभी नहीं झेला. किसान ने जितना झेला है वो किससे ज्यादा कभी नहीं झेला. अगर चुनाव ईवीएम से नहीं हुआ, बैलेट से हुआ या वीवीपैट से हुआ, जिसके अंदर पर्ची वोटर के हाथ में आए और बराबर के बैलेट बॉक्स में डाल दे और बैलेट बॉक्स भी 100% गिने जाए, तो बीजेपी कहीं स्टैंड नहीं करेगी.
ईवीएम पे भी मेरा एक आधार है, ईमानदारी की बात कह रहा हूँ. खुद मेरे इलेक्शन के अंदर लास्ट टाइम एक बूथ था जिसपे कोई भी वोट डाल रहा था वो बीजेपी को डाल रहा था. उसके बाद उस दिन पोलिंग कैंसिल हुई, उसके बाद में रीपोल वहां पे हुआ. कहने का मतलब ये है कि जहां कहीं भी देश से आवाज आती है, ये मौके की बात है. कई जगह ये मशीन में खराबी बताई गई कि कहीं भी वोट डालते हैं तो बीजेपी में क्यों जाता है. जितनी भी शिकायतें आज तक आई हैं वो यही आई हैं. कहीं भी आपको कांग्रेस में वोट जाता हुआ मिला हो, सपा को मिला हो, बसपा को मिला हो या कोई अन्य क्षेत्रीय दल उनको मिला हो, तब एक बात समझ में आती है कि मशीनें गड़बड़ किसी भी पार्टी में हो जाती है, लेकिन हमेशा फूल की तरफ ही हुई है.
The Chief Election Commissioner, while announcing poll dates, also sought to address opposition's concern over EVMs, but he chose to do so using a poetic dig at the doubters. This is what happened.
मुझे भी ईवीएम पे फिर मैं रात सोच रहा था ये प्रश्न तो आएगा जरूर, तो फिर रात को मैंने कुछ लिखा अपने हाथ से, वो फिर आपको सुनाता हूं. अधूरी हसरतों का इल्जाम, अधूरी हसरतों का इल्जाम हर बार हम पर लगाना ठीक नहीं. ये ईवीएम कह रही है, मैं नहीं कह रहा हूं. अधूरी हसरतों का इल्जाम हर बार हम पे लगाना ठीक नहीं. वफा खुद से नहीं होती, खता ईवीएम की कहते हो. और बाद में गोया जब परिणाम आता है तो उस पर कायम भी नहीं रहते. आप ही के पक्ष में रिजल्ट आ जाता है. ये क्या बात है भाई? कितने दिन? EVMs are 100% safe. अभी फिर रिसेंटली माननीय उच्चतम न्यायालय ने एक पिटीशन खत्म की है, कितनी बार सुनेंगे? क्यों बार बार वही बिलाप करना है? कोई चीजें तो हमसे पूछिए।
When will the EVM Vilap stop? Asked the Chief Election Commissioner. Now, viewers, the opposition didn't take Chief Election Commissioner Shairi kindly and said that use of politically colored lines by him only goes on to put questions on his neutrality. While the opposition was back to reading its excuse list, Prime Minister Modi, who's while on a South Blitz road, 400 par once again.
मेरे प्यारे भाइयों बहनों, तारीखों के औपचारिक ऐलान के पहले ही देश की जनता ने, देश ने नतीजों का ऐलान कर दिया है। देश ने घोषणा कर दी है, अब की बार
Let's open this up. Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Tushar Gupta, political analyst. Dr. Syed Hafiz, spokesperson of the DMK. Dr. Shantanu Sen, member of parliament and national spokesperson of the TMC. Kishore Tiwari, spokesperson of Shiv Sena, Uddhav Thackeray faction. Kamruzaman Chaudhary, political analyst, and Jay Mrug, one of India's foremost political analysts and psephologists, completes the panel. Good evening, all of you. Now, before we get into the political blame game, Jay, what do you make of the poll roster and the commentary around it?
Look, actually, we just break it down by numbers. Statement by some of the opposition parties that, it should be 5-phase, not 7-phase. If you look at a total of 36 states and union territories, we have 33 of them going in 5-phase. If there's 7-phase, it is only for 3 of them, 3 states, so Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and West Bengal. If you're looking at 5 poll dates, you have Maharashtra and Jammu and Kashmir, only 2. 4, you have 3, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand. 2, you have only Chhattisgarh and Assam, who have 2 states that have 3 poll dates. See, let's understand the nature of these states. The more tribal a state, that much more fine spreading of the, central police forces, the paramilitary forces, the election machinery be done that much more diligently. Those are the states which are going in larger number of polls, sort of a rough correlation there. The second is states that have had a history of disturbed elections. Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal especially. West Bengal, there are some booths in some elections where some 95 or 100% polling takes place. Now, that's the sort of thing that the Election Commission also has taken note of. Therefore, those are the states, irrespective of their number of seats, they have the highest number of polls. So if you're very then the whole plan falls in place. So yeah, that would be my humble submission,
Okay. Now let's open this up quickly. Dr. Syed Hafiz, now your party leaders have said that the reason that the Prime Minister was on a campaign overdrive in southern states, we knew that the states would go to polls in phase 1. Mr. TKS Elangovan has said that we anticipated that Tamil Nadu will come in first phase. However, waiting till June 4 is one question that the party has to get prepared for. We will win. Now, so after saying everything, you are at least confident of your performance. But what would you tell some of your other constituents in Team India? They have a problem with the poll roster.
See, certainly, by and large, the credibility of the institutions which have to act independently is at stake in India. The desperation of this government to overrule a Supreme Court verdict in naming the chief electoral commissioners and the election commissioners raises a serious doubt. If if BJP has nothing in having any election commissioner, why did it intervene against the Supreme Court intervention? All these creates a doubt in the mind of the public and the political parties, which apprehend that there could be favorism by the election commission. That is the first thing the BJP should have avoided. What is wrong in CGI being a panel? How does it affect neutrality? That would become more transparent, that would become more neutral. That is what BJP stands for. It comes and says that we want transparency, we want neutrality. So adding CGI will give more neutrality to the entire election commissioner panel, and you can brush away all these allegations from the opposition, and you can be strong and confident in front of the public. So, we know as the electoral bonds have come out, we know how ED has been used as an extortion department from the BJP to gain more bonds. All this, in this background, the credibility of the independent democratic constitutional bodies raises a question in mind of the public and the political parties. As far as the South is concerned, we have been told that we will be facing elections in the first phase because of the continuous visits by the Prime Minister to Tamil Nadu, which was scheduled. So we anticipated, our leaders were time and again hinting us to be prepared for the election, which we are prepared. So all this aside, as far as the elections are concerned, Tamil Nadu, we are prepared. We have finished first phase of campaigning. We have done a door-to-door campaign and public meeting. We are confident we are ahead of others as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned.
Dr. Hafiz, before I get Sanju Verma to respond to you, I just have this question, sir. If you believe that Tamil Nadu is going in the first phase because the Prime Minister started his campaign, now tell me, by the same logic, if the EC were to put Tamil Nadu in the last phase, wouldn't you say that the Prime Minister has got more time to campaign in a state where the BJP is traditionally not very strong? I'll hand it over to Sanju Verma to respond to the larger point that you made.
So you want me to speak, or you
No,
want
no, Sanju Verma is
Verma?
responding to the charges.
Thank you. Pranesh, I will nail the lies of the DMK spokesperson one by one. First, this entire cabal from the other side saying, why in 7 phases or 5 phases, or why not in 2 phases? So let me tell you, in 2009 Lok Sabha elections, the elections started on the 16th of April 2009. They ended on the 13th of May 2009, and the elections were held in 5 phases. But in Lok Sabha 2014, well before Narendra Modi came to the helm of affairs, that Lok Sabha 2014 election was held in 9 phases. 9 phases from 7th April to 12th May 2014. Now in 2019, the election was held in 7 phases from 11th April to 19th May. The limited point I'm making is whether 5 phases or 9 phases or 7 phases is the prerogative not of the ruling dispensation, which is what is being bandied about, but the prerogative of the Election Commission, wide Article 324, 325, 326, 327 and 328 of the Constitution. So the first point is, stop blaming Narendra Modi. This is a decision taken by the Chief Election Commissioner Rajiv Kumar and his 2 colleagues. The second point is this: had we said that we are going to wind up the entire election in barely 2 weeks, तब ये लोग क्या कहते हैं? Then the allegation would be, अरे मोदी सरकार को तो पहले से ही पता था that this election will wind up in 2 or 3 phases. It will be limited to 2 or 3 weeks. इनकी तो तैयारी पूरी थी. The opposition is not well prepared. They have deliberately shortened the entire election exercise to put the opposition on a weak wicket. So like I say, opposition always has something to cry about, because victimhood is the very DNA of the opposition.
Okay.
चाहे ममता बनर्जी हो या स्टैलिन हो या राहुल गांधी हो.
So you believe this is nothing but an excuse ahead of elections, poll bahana. Dr. Shantanu Sen is ready to respond. Dr. Sen.
It's really funny to listen to the BJP spokesperson talking about the Election Commission, which has been nominated by Prime Minister in presence of Home Minister, and this is probably for the first time since independence. Since independence, probably for the first time we have seen that Prime Minister in presence of Home Minister has been appointing one person as Election Commissioner. So far as state of West Bengal is concerned, according to the National Crime Record Bureau records, the law and order situation is much better than any other BJP ruled state in our country. But even then, while having more number of seats or almost equal number of seats in BJP ruled states, they are having election in one phase or two. West Bengal having 42 seats, they are having election in 7 phases. Because Bengal cannot be won politically by Bharatiya Janata Party. So there is always an attitude of political vendetta, political discrimination and political character assassination of Bharatiya Trinamool Congress run government. But trust me, people of Bengal, they have proved before also that they are not with this anti-Bengal and anti-Bengali Bharatiya Janata Party. They are with the pro-development Mamata Banerjee Trinamool Congress. That has been proved time and again in the previous elections, and that is going to be proved once again in the forthcoming parliament election 2024.
Now, Dr. Sen, I'll get Jay, he wants to come in. But quickly, do you remember, sir, in 2014, it was not under the Modi government, but UPA was in power, the outgoing UPA. 10-phase elections happened in Bengal. 10-phase. Jay.
That hardly matters. But you have to recall the verdict.
Bengal also has had a tradition of sometimes some assembly constituencies seeing a 90-95% turnout, ample violence on poll day, violence with crude bombs on poll day. It deserves a meticulous policing attention. I mean, that's the very simple case. It deserves a meticulous policing attention.
No, I think, even the Congress is in favor of central paramilitary forces in Bengal, and Kamruzaman Chaudhary will, enunciate that point. Now, Kamruzaman Chaudhary, is it fair to go after the election commission? Itne phases mein kyun ho raha? There are security concerns.
No, obviously, Bengal has got a history of election poll violence, pre-poll as well as post-poll. Many of our trusted workers have also lost their lives, have been injured, their houses, properties looted. And this is nothing new. It is generic to the political climate that exists in Bengal right from the CPM times of the Naxal period and is continuing over the Mamata Banerjee's period also. So there is nothing new. Congress party wants the entire elections in Bengal, be it the Panchayat or be it the Lok Sabha elections, to be held under the central forces supervision. That's one point. However, we have raised a few red flags against the Election Commission's decision. When you have a multi-phased elections like 7 phases in Bengal, UP and Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, that in Maharashtra for a 48 seat, without any history of pre-poll or post-poll violence, what was the need and necessity for a 5-phase polls for the first time? Second point, when the Supreme Court has said clearly that please hold assembly elections to Jammu and Kashmir, and it has given the green signal after December, why didn't the Election Commission think it necessary to give the people of Jammu and Kashmir a role to take part in the biggest democratic process in the world? Point number 2. Point number 3.
No, 1 minute. I'll answer point number 2 because the Chief Election Commissioner, Kamruzaman ji, ये देखिए आप इतना अगर आप बोल रहे हैं, I'll get others to respond to it. But on point number 2 about Jammu and Kashmir, the CEC was asked a question. He said there are security concerns, plain and simple. It ends there. The first point about Maharashtra.
No, are you holding the parliamentary elections? No, Pranesh, are you holding the parliamentary elections of Jammu and Kashmir in this phase, or you are skipping that?
No, he said that,
this is an illogical argument. When you are holding Manipur, now at present, when we say the Jammu and Kashmir condition is very, very amicable to holding conducive elections, then is the Jammu and Kashmir more peaceful than Manipur, or Manipur is more peaceful than Jammu and Kashmir?
Kamruzaman Chaudhary, you are trivializing an argument. I'll tell you, ये one size fits all approach चलता नहीं है ऐसे.
That is not a law and order crisis.
Sir, law and order is specific to each region.
This is the hypocrisy of the Narendra Modi government.
The Modi government has nothing to do with the poll announcement.
Manipur is
Tell me, 1 minute. in 2014, when we
that
saw
is
10-phase polls, 1 minute, Kamru Zaman Chaudhary,
that is
iska
the
jawab
joke
dijiye.
that
In
is played on the
2014,
country.
when we saw 10-phase polls, did the Manmohan Singh government or the NAC under Sonia Gandhi advise the Election Commission to order a 10-phase polls? Answer that question.
We had conducted elections in this country under a single election commissioners. At that time, you remember, Mr. T.N. Session was there.
Now, come
Mr.
on,
Lingdo was
Tushar,
there,
you know, this is getting,
their duties.
more bizarre.
India will say that the first epic card was brought out by T.N. Session.
Okay, let Tushar Gupta come in. Tushar, quickly.
Pranesh, good evening. Good evening, Pranesh. You know, let's take a moment to let the facts sink in that in 2024, there would be 98 crore eligible voters in India. That's a humongous number. Nowhere in the world do you even have 1/4 of this number registered to vote, not even in America. This is humongous and we should all take a moment to let this sink in. Now coming to the opposition. I'm wondering what's wrong with the opposition today. First, they were saying that one nation, one election is a bad idea. Today, they are confusing one nation, one election for the number of phases and then saying, why do you have 7 phases? 2019 was a 7-phase election. Then they say, why do you have 5 phases in Maharashtra? You had 4 phases in 2019. There is a better distribution of the voting and you have 5 phases. What's the big difference? Bihar voted in 7 phases in 2019. Where is the difference? The opposition is worried that the Prime Minister will have more time to campaign. The opposition will also have more time to campaign, or perhaps that is why, Pranesh, they are worried that now that Rahul Gandhi will have more time to campaign, how many more people will depart from the Congress? I just don't understand. You have an election where 98 crore voters are eligible to vote. The logistics of it, the people working in the election, the logistics after the polling is done, the counting, everything. It's a humongous exercise. But what are they doing? They're cribbing about it. Why are you going to elections in Tamil Nadu first? You rightly pointed out that had it been in the 7th phase, they would have said the Prime Minister needs more time to campaign in Tamil Nadu. If Maharashtra election is happening in 5 phases, it gives both the parties equal time to campaign. My question is, where is the problem? Are you worried that more time for Rahul Gandhi to campaign means more high-profile exits from the Congress? If that is your concern, I agree with you. It's a legitimate concern.
Kishore Tiwari, is Rahul Gandhi campaigning for Team India or is he the star campaigner of the BJP?
Pranesh, let me speak, Pranesh. First, Shantanu Sen, the present commissioner has decided the date in a BJP headquarters. So your all worries are correct. Then second thing, he has become suddenly an environment-friendly, carbon-free election he is doing to avoid compulsory counting of VVPAT printouts. So this gives you the scope that the election is being manipulated. Tushar speak about Maharashtra. In fact, Maharashtra election would have been completed in 2 phases only. So, Shantanu, I will tell you, if you look at the state where maximum phases are there, they are Bihar, Bengal, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra. So here BJP is losing significantly like in southern state. So BJP has lost the election. People are just waiting for a date.
Kishore Tiwari, if the BJP has lost the elections, then you should be not coming up with these excuses. Jammu, who has years on the ground, Jammu आपको बताएंगे 5 फेज में इलेक्शन क्यों. इन्होंने अपने ओपनिंग रिमार्क में भी बोला कि बेटर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है, ट्राइबल एरियाज में थोड़ी जरूरत होती है ज्यादा समय की. 1 मिनट किशोर तिवारी जी, 1 मिनट. जय,
इवन इफ यू लुक एट महाराष्ट्र, आप अगर फर्स्ट फेज का देखें पोलिंग, राइट, द सेक्शंस ऑफ छत्तीसगढ़, मध्य प्रदेश that are essentially tribal, the core, जिसको आप अगर if you go back in history 10-15 years, the areas of Maharashtra also that are in the Naxalite groups, Dandakaranya region, वो सबको अलग से फेज में पहले कवर किया गया. You have to understand the security aspect bit of it. And if you even look at the phase by phase, seats from that place, which is the most sensitive, you will be able to actually figure out the paramilitary movement. It is moving in proper geographic chunks to the next level. So that's what is happening. I would really wish everybody just looked at it from a pure technical and geographical perspective.
Well, that's a great point, and I don't think there is any strong counter to it, because apart from obviously the rhetoric that we are seeing, Sanju Verma, the main concern of the opposition is about the credibility of the election, while the BJP has given a campaign of 400 par. Now imagine this: if you were to get even somewhere close to it, they will say, we had said so before, we don't have faith in the machinery, the manner in which elections were conducted. And as we speak, Sanju Verma, let me quickly read this out, then I'll get your response. Kamal Haasan, who's part of Team India now, he's put out a tweet. He says, before we try to attempt one nation, one election, can we at least try one election, one phase? I mean, this is ridiculous. This is really trivializing the intent with which one nation, one election has been brought in, or is at least being deliberated upon. Sanju Verma.
Pranesh, there is a saying in English, you should stick to your knitting. And I think Kamal Haasan should have stuck to what he does best, acting. Politics is certainly not his cup of tea, and that is amply evident from the reckless statements that he comes up with every so often. Be that as it may, I don't think he is very important in the overall scheme of things. For the benefit of your audience, Pranesh, I'll make a couple of points. Point number one, on the Jammu and Kashmir elections not being cobbled together with Lok Sabha 2024. So let me remind you that in December 2023, a 5-judge bench led by CJI Chandrachud, while hearing a couple of petitions, said that the Modi government should ensure that elections to Jammu and Kashmir are held by 30th of September 2024. 30th September 2024 के लिए अभी 6.5-7 महीने बचे हैं. So please read and come when you come on debates, rather than just blabbering, oh, why Jammu Kashmir elections are not being cobbled together. Point number two, somebody spoke about how EVMs can be manipulated. This is not Sanju Verma saying, and I don't think any of us here are experts on the technicalities about EVM functioning. But you don't need to be a rocket scientist to know that EVMs cannot be hacked or manipulated. I will quote what Madhav Deshpande, the former chief advisor to Barack Obama, said. He said that EVMs cannot be hacked or manipulated because EVMs are standalone machines. They are not linked to any smartphone. They are not linked to any wireless device. They are not linked to any 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G device. They are not linked to the internet. And EVM has 3 units: the control unit, the ballot unit, and the VVPAT. And the moment you give your vote by pressing for whoever you want or whichever party you want on the ballot unit, your vote is registered and it is saved in the control unit. और अब दोबारा यदि वोट करना भी चाहो, the ballot unit will not register your vote, right, which means that the EVMs reduce the possibility of forgery and duplicate votes, which is what used to happen for the longest time. My third and most important point is this. Somebody said, why only, the Modi government and a union cabinet minister and the prime minister and one leader of the opposition will decide on who the chief election commissioner will be or who the 2 additional election commissioners will be. So please understand that there were 9 petitions filed against the appointment of Pranesh Kumar as the additional election commissioner and against the appointment of Sukhbir Singh Sandhu as the additional election commissioner, in addition to Rajiv Kumar, who is the chief election commissioner. And the funny thing, and since Mr. Santanu from TMC finds everything that I say funny, this is not funny, so please listen carefully, sir. The Supreme Court said that it is the prerogative of the executive to decide, right, who the 2 additional election commissioners will be.
In fact, let's get a response from Dr. Sen, because you were responding to him directly. Dr. Sen.
Yeah, I was listening to the BJP spokesperson who must be aware of the recent scenario that come what may, people of India, they want to know why the price of petrol and diesel has gone up, crossing 100. Why the price of gas cylinder, which was 400 rupees before they came to the power, has become 1200 rupees. Why India ranks 111 out of 121 countries so far the global hunger index is concerned. Why India is facing highest unemployment in last 45 years. Why 30 farmers are committing suicide per day. Why so much of inflation. Why the kitchens of the common people are burning. Why there are so many scams like Modi Adani scam amounting to $120 billion, and in the name of electoral bond, they have literally extorted the businessman. So their actual character has been unveiled and unmasked before the people of India.
Dr. Sen, it's really funny that you're also talking about electoral bonds. Why did the TMC accept money through electoral bonds? If you had a problem with electoral bonds, you should have said, no, thank you very much. We don't need the money.
Let me answer you. TMC never wanted to throttle the voice of our SBI that don't bring the actual facts before the month of June.
No. 1 minute. Dr. Sen, that's not the question. That is, that is a case which is still being, that the Supreme Court will take a final call. I am only asking you on the larger principle. If you had such a problem with electoral bonds, why did you take the money?
I am not talking against electoral bond, but the way they have extorted
you were talking against electoral bonds.
No, certainly not. You are misquoting and you are putting your words to my mouth.
I am not, sir. That is not my intention.
I am talking
that
against
is not my intention. So, so you have no problems with electoral bonds?
I am talking against the process they have extorted the businessman by showing the AD.
So, Dr. Sen, would it be then fair to say that you have no problems with electoral bonds?
No, you cannot conclude like this. My question is, BJP, the way they have scared the businessman by showing the ED and CBI juju, and thereafter they extorted.
Now tell me, sir, now what kind of extortion is this that the BJP was threatening them and they were paying money to the TMC? What would you call this extortion?
That's absolutely a separate deal. If you go through the chronology, you will see, first of all, those companies were raided by ED and CBI. Then they were forced to take some electoral bond. They were given some allotments of central government jobs.
And the companies that companies that gave money to the TMC, what happened to them?
That's a separate deal.
That's a what deal? No, what deal is this?
TMC.
Tushar Gupta
never wanted to hide it.
What deal is this?
There is a deal. So, Pranesh, your show is about to get famous because a TMC spokesperson says that rupees 1600 crore that the TMC accepted through electoral bonds, there was a separate deal, so as to say. But Pranesh, the Chief Election Commissioner today was talking about the political discourse getting lower and lower with each passing day, and it appears that some party spokespersons and a few film actors have taken upon themselves to lower the collective IQ of political discourse in this country. I'm appalled that Mr. Haasan is believing that one nation, one election means that an election will happen in single phase. I mean, look at the intellect of people who are calling themselves politicians now. And let also be put on record that every single line that the previous panelist, the TMC spokesperson, said was an absolute lie. They say electoral bond is a scam, yet they have no problem accepting money via electoral bond, and surprisingly money more than what the Congress has got. And when they are asked what were they doing with those business groups, they say it's a separate deal. Can the TMC spokesperson explain what kind of a deal are we talking about here? What is he referring to? What was the quid pro quo in TMC then? Because he's saying there was a separate deal. Not our words, his own words.
Dr. Sen, would you like to respond to that? I think we've lost that line with Dr. Sen. We are trying to get him back. But I just want to read out what the Supreme Court had said in 2019. Dr. Hafiz, I want you to come in on this. Now, in your opening remarks, sir, you said that, look, we are not quite sure about the credibility or the fairness with which the polls would be conducted. The Supreme Court dismissed PIL seeking 100% matching of VVPAT slips with EVMs. In fact, the vacation bench had then while dismissing this PIL, called it nuisance and ill-timed. This was filed by a collective of technocrats called Tech for All, and that the court called this group nuisance and said that this petition is ill-timed. Time and again, people from opposition question the credibility of the EVM. Yet when you win polls in state assembly elections, in by-polls, there is not a word. EVMs are used there also.
No, I think, Pranesh, you should be asking this question to the people who are doubting the EVM. We did not say, DMK never said that we doubt the EVM. So putting this question to us is
no, totally, I'm not for one saying that the DMK said. Dr. Hafiz, don't get me wrong. The reason I asked you, sir, because you're part of Team India.
You said. So, I am part of Team India. Yeah. What I am concerned more is the 2024-23 judgment, which the CJI said, I will be a part of the committee which will select the election commissioner. What is the problem in that? Why did BJP showed so much haste in appointing a election commissioner at the behest of Union Cabinet, Home Minister and Prime Minister? This is a bigger question that raises the credibility.
Sanju Verma, answer that question.
This needs an answer.
Yeah, Sanju Verma, national spokesperson, BJP, respond to that question. Why was the haste?
Can you hear me, Pranesh?
Loud and clear.
Thank you. So my pointed rebuttal to the DMK panelist is this. For the longest time, we did not even have 2 additional commissioners. We only had the Chief Election Commissioner who used to take the call. For a brief period in 1989 and 1993, we had 2 additional commissioners, but Rajiv Gandhi said 2 additional commissioners ki zarurat nahi hai, sirf Chief Election Commissioner is enough. And the same thing was repeated by Manmohan Singh and by successive Congress dispensations. Today, there is a 3-member committee. It has 1 Union Cabinet Minister, it has the Prime Minister, and it has leader of the opposition, in this case, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary. They collectively take a call on who the additional election commissioners will be. And the Supreme Court, led by CJI Chandrachud, has said that yes, we are fine with it. So, don't be more loyal than the king. Don't try to be more Catholic than the Pope. Because when the Supreme Court has no problem, I don't think you should be weighing in on this judgment of the Supreme
Sanju
Court.
Verma, now,
fine.
I'll tell you, now, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, after the meeting, he came out and said that, look, the government gave me a list of about 1,200 names. I'm not quite sure of the number. And he said, I did not even have the time to go through it. So this was virtually, for all practical purposes, decided by the 2 people, the Prime Minister and the Cabinet Minister.
Pranesh, let me finish. Pranesh, let's be very clear. What do you expect? Forget Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary ki jagah, suppose, it would have been Udayanidhi Stalin in the committee, or it would have been Abhishek Banerjee, or it would have been Lalu Prasad Yadav's incompetence and Tejasvi Yadav. Do you expect anyone to say that, all is kosher? Obviously, they're in the opposition. Their work is to come out of the meeting, play the victim card. But the more important point is this. People who doubt about the validity, veracity, authenticity of the entire process of appointing election commissioners, this is the same bunch. I have a lot of respect for TN Session, but let no one be under any doubt. Your audience needs to know. TN Session was the Forest Secretary, TN Session was the Defense Secretary, and TN Session was the Cabinet Secretary under Rajiv Gandhi and successive Congress governments. And when he was no longer the Defense Secretary after Rajiv Gandhi died, he was accommodated as a member of the Planning Commission by the P.V. Narasimha Rao government. Be it J.M. Lindo, be it M.S. Gill, be it T.S. Krishnamurthy, be it Naveen Chawla, be it B.B. Tandon. These are all Chief Election Commissioners who went on to become Congress persons or were congressmen who were appointed as Chief Election Commissioners. So, yahan baitkar, Congress or DMK has no business talking about conflict of interest or taking the moral high ground. As per Article 245 of the Constitution, the Modi government / the central government is well within its rights constitutionally to appoint the CEC and the 2 additional election commissioners.
Kamru Zaman Chaudhary.
Permit me just 1 minute of your time because the total debate has been derailed out here. Let me bring it on track. And for your memory, why we call the entire election process has become an electoral autocracy in India is right from when we were criticized for the Shah Banu judgment being overturned by the Rajiv Gandhi government by making a law. The same case when we are at a liberty to criticize the Modi government in overturning the Supreme Court judgment in the appointment of election commissioners. Point number one. Point number two, why we called India has become an electoral autocracy is the manner in which Modi government tried to hide from the public of India the illegal gratification it provided to numerous donors of the electoral bonds. Point number three, what the people of this country wanted was a level playing field in the field of elections. But what we got was the administration, the central forces, all types of agencies being used against opposition, breaking the democratically elected governments, breaking away regional political parties, resorting to resort politics, giving away the basic mandate of the people of this country. This is the basic reason that the opposition are all lost faith in the election process of the country. But since we abide by the Constitution of India, we are there to participate in the electoral process. But still we believe until these anomalies are corrected by the Modi government, we from the opposition space will always feel this to be an electoral autocracy at its best.
Wrong term that you're using, Kamruzaman Chaudhary. Electoral autocracy, Election Commission also conducted elections in Karnataka. The Congress is in power there. You won the polls in Himachal, conducted by Election Commission, not by the Pakistani Cricket Board. Now come on, where will this absurdity end? I'll tell you, sir, Dr. Syed Hafiz, no, 1 minute. Dr. Syed Hafiz made it clear that the DMK has no problems with the EVMs, that many in the Congress have a problem with the EVM. The likes of Digvijay Singh, every other day they come out and say that, you know, EVM machines are not reliable. But to the larger question, you're talking about the appointment of the Election Commission and the haste that also Dr. Hafiz underlined. I think you wanted to come in again, Dr. Saeed, you wanted to make a point. Go ahead.
No, we know the history, what Congress did. So does it mean that it's a justification for what Congress did and BJP is going to do? This is not the point. When there was a clear verdict to make it more transparent to appoint the election commissioner, if BJP believes that they are transparent in governance, more than governance is the democratic issue where the elections need to be conducted transparently, they should have let and allowed the Supreme Court verdict to go. Nobody is questioning the constitutionality of Modi government able to appoint the election commissioners. The allegations are here that the compromise of the freedom of the institutions, as it is evident by the electoral bonds where ED raids a company and then the company pays huge sum of amount to the BJP. There is an established quid pro quo and established case of extortion. That is the question. So here in last 10 years, the compromise of institutions to the extent where an NFHS data released by IAPS shows that the Union government has not done well in open defecation. The head of the IAPS is sad. When CAG report comes out about 7.5
Sanju
lakh
Verma,
crore,
you have the last word on the show. You have about 1 minute. Answer those questions.
Thank you. Pranesh, first and foremost, like Kamruzaman used the term electoral autocracy. There is nothing called electoral autocracy. It is an oxymoron. But then to expect basic intelligence from the Congress panelists is, expecting too much. I will tell you something very interesting. This entire process of appointment of the CJI and the 2 additional election commissioners, it never became a law. It was still under the process of being dissected. It never became a law. Whereas the Shah Banu thing had already, to overrule that, Rajiv Gandhi brought in a fresh law to deny a Muslim woman a monthly alimony of 179 rupees. So the first distinction is the process of appointment had not become a law. The second and the more important point, electoral bonds. Let me tell you, out of 20,000 crore, 6,000 crore has come to BJP, a party with 303 MPs. More than 1,952 crore has gone to Congress, a party with only 52 MPs. More than to the tune of 20 crore per MP. For Congress, that is 37 crore per MP. For DMK, it is 77 crore per MP. For the Trinamool Congress, it is 83 crore per MP. इसीलिए यहाँ बैठकर बीजेपी को इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड्स पर भाषण मत दो. It is very clear, even using layman's logic, people love to bet on a winning horse.
No, on the larger issue of electoral bonds, the last word is yet to be said by the Supreme Court. So we should all, be careful in our commentary. But, the arguments and the logic all out there for people to judge. I thank all of you for joining us on the news hour. Tushar, 10 seconds. 10 seconds is all that I can give you.
Pranesh, one question. Where is the TMC spokesperson who said it was
No, we have a bad audio line with Dr. Sen, which is why I couldn't get him to respond to it. Can happen sometimes. So, we don't have him. In fact, his network was patchy through the show. So, maybe next time we'll have this conversation. I thank you, all of you, for joining us on Times Now.